everyone, my name is NBA Malaga and welcome to another episode of Banyana by Skolo. Alright, come to the front. Let's get started with our lecture for today. On today's agenda, lecture number 2. Our topic is the 7B's part 1. I don't know if you girlies know what the 7B's are, but they definitely governed me and my crew during our time in school. I mean, literally from primary school all the way up until high school, even in varsity. I am 28 years old today and I still live by the 7B's. So yeah, I don't know. I know definitely me and generations above me know what the 7B's are. Those below me, I'll say we'll push it up to like 3, maybe in 4 years, might know what the 7B's are. But for the girlies who don't know what the 7B's are, they are books before boys because boys bring babies. I'm gonna have to say that again so that you understand what I'm saying. Books before boys because boys bring babies. Period. Point blank period. Those are the 7B's. Those are the 7B's that governed my life. They still govern my life and many other girls within my generation. And it's important for you younger girlies to know what the 7B's are because they're self-explanatory. I get it. Banyana is Skolo. So Banyana obalang Skolo. Wana bashimani. I don't understand. Yes, bashimani. Let's not lie, right? Because like I said in the previous episode, I was a teenager once. I was in my early 20s once, so I know what those stages of life look like. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't know what happens there and I'm gonna sit here and say focus on books. It's a lie. It's a lie. Okay? There are some girls who can do that. Kudos to them. But for the majority, you're going to be engaging in the other areas of your life, and one of those areas being boys. However, your books must come before the boys, okay? Because your future is within your books and not the boys, okay? And point number 1 for today's episode is the boys will steal your future because theirs has no consequences. I think we can all understand that, right? So, as a young girl, if you fall pregnant within high school or within early varsity, it's going to affect your life, my babe. You're gonna need to drop out of school at some point. Like if you go to traditional schools, I mean, varsity is very different. You can definitely attend until it's time for you to go. But if you're in high school and you go to a traditional school, most of the traditional schools don't let pregnant girls stay. At least they don't let them stay until full term. Most of them, from what I know, and during my time, the moment you start showing, they send you out of the school, you know. And when it comes to the consequences of pregnancy in school, especially high school, I have my own reservations towards that. I think that the consequences should be equal for the girl and the guy. If I'm getting pulled out of school, then the boy who made me fall pregnant should also be pulled out of school. But that's not how things work right now, and that's very unfair. But the point is that the consequences will stay with you, my babe. They will stay with you, and that boy is gonna live his life like nothing is going on. So you're gonna get pulled out of school at whatever stage. You might not have the luxury of getting to continue with school in a different institution, right? But he's gonna stay. He's gonna finish the year. He's going to progress to the next grade, or he's going to progress to the next year if he's in varsity, and you're going to stay stuck. You are going to stay stuck. That is the first thing you must think about when you want to be engaging with boys like that. That the consequences are going to stay with you. Literally physically, because I mean, he can't walk around with a belly. You walk around with a belly, right? But even beyond that, he's not going to get the same backlash from life that you're going to get. Like it's you. Point number 2, the baby will be your responsibility and not his. So like I mentioned, he's gonna get to continue his life and your life is going to be altered forever, right? You're the one who's going through the pregnancy. You're the one who has to drop out of school for some time before and after giving birth, by the way. And if you're lucky and you have a supportive family, you can go back to school. But not everyone comes from a supportive family like that. So some girls are forced to get into the working field to fend for themselves and for their kids. And most of the time, these boys are not going to help you at all. Why? Because we have an epidemic. Is it an epidemic or is it a pet? You get the point. We have a problem of fatherlessness in this country that I live in, South Africa, and generally just around the world. Okay, a lot of fathers run away from their responsibilities, and they do it the most when they're younger. The teenage dads, the early 20s dads, those ones aren't even thinking about being fathers. They were just there for your honey. They were just there for a good time. They wanted to put their hands in the cookie jar, and now that the cookie jar got a bit sticky, they want to run away, right? So think about these things, my girls. Think about these things. Yes, you like your boyfriend. Yes, you might even love your boyfriend. But your books, baby. Your books must come before that boy. Your books must come before those boys. They're going to steal your future. Like, they are going to derail you. They're going to slow your life down, and his is going to progress. And then they show up 20, 30 years down the line when you've done well and your child has done well, and then they want to take the credit for that. And it's going to piss you off. Naturally so, because you raised that child by yourself. Okay? So let's try and avoid those situations. Okay? The next point is that most of the time you put your dreams on hold and focus on surviving. So, like the example that I just made now, you have to leave school and you need to go get a job so that you can fend for you and your child, and the father of the child is not in the picture. He's living his life, he's chasing his dreams and whatever. That's putting your dreams on hold, right? Because let's say now you wanted to go be a doctor and you don't come from a supportive family like that. Your dream of being a doctor is now going to be put on hold because you need to get a job to make sure that your child is at least surviving. God willing, at some point you might be able to get back on track and in line with that dream, but it's going to take a little longer, right? So when you are choosing to engage with boys, think about these things. That should the consequences of the activity that you are participating in arrive, you are taking 95% of the responsibility that is coming with those consequences. He is taking 5%, and the 5% is just the fact that he is the father. Literally. So be awake. When it comes to the boys, be very awake. Okay? My next point, very much in line with the previous point, you lose out on your youth because you become a mom too early, right? Okay, and the example that I have here is that you lose your friends because you don't speak the same language anymore. So yes, you are going to lose out on a big chunk of your youth if you become a teen or very young mom. Why? Because you're not going to have as much freedom as you had before, because now you have this big responsibility of raising a human, and your age mates don't have that responsibility. So they are now in this phase where their families are giving them more freedom to go and explore life as a young and growing girl, right? And now you have to step into the role of mom. Now, these two worlds are so tricky to maneuver because I'm 28, I don't have a child, but I do have friends and cousins that have had children young, right? And I've seen what those dynamics have done to relationships. I'm going to speak about their relationships with me, because I don't want to speak for their relationships with other people. But a lot of my friends that had kids young, our friendships kind of like fizzled out and we kind of grew apart. And it's not because I was judging my friends and saying, oh my gosh, you have a baby now. It's just because we stopped speaking the same language. And because we stopped speaking the same language, there's not much that we can do to relate. And if there's not much that we can do to relate, then it becomes difficult to maintain that kind of relationship. Do you know what I mean? So I'm also saying this to the girlies who don't have children and they have friends, cousins, neighbors who are in situations of being young moms. Do not let the reason that the relationship is falling apart be because you are judging and you think that it can't be you tomorrow. It can definitely be you tomorrow. Okay, no one plans to be a teen mom. No one plans to be a young 20s mom. These things happen. Okay, can be very avoidable, yes, but they happen. And you must never think that you are bigger than the program, because it literally could be you tomorrow. So let's not judge each other. Let's be gentle with each other as girls in this space. And even to the young mommies, don't think that your friends are pulling away from you because they're judging you. Perhaps it might just be because your guys' lifestyles are so different now, right? And maybe you're also too young to be able to have that conversation. And now that I think about it, with a lot of my friends that had kids young, it is because we were too young to even, like, how do you start that conversation? That conversation of, friend, you're a mom now, I'm not a mom, your life has changed this much, and there's not really much that is like allowing us to connect on that level anymore. You're too young to even think of having such conversations. You can feel that there's a bit of weirdness between you guys, but you just don't know how to have that conversation. You know what I mean? So don't be too mad at yourselves. Hopefully, as you grow older, maybe you might be able to rekindle that relationship and explain to each other what could have happened in that weird time, right? But yes, let's be gentle with each other as the friend towards the young mom and as the young mom is towards the other friends. Okay, we're both in a weird situation that we haven't been in before. Let's just try and support each other as best as we can, because at the end of the day, the young mommy is going to need her community, and her community also should still consist of her friends, her really close friends that she can rely on. And the same goes for you, young friend, who also might not have a child yet. Like I said, you don't know what could happen tomorrow, right? We all try to protect ourselves as best as we can from these situations, but you just never know what could happen tomorrow. So don't be too quick to judge your friends, thinking that you could never find yourself in the same situation, because tomorrow you fall pregnant and now your friend has been a mom for 2 years and she knows the ins and outs of being a mom, and now you can't even go to her to get some advice because you judged her from the beginning. So let's not do that. Okay. My next point is that you can't live the life you used to live. Example, groove babe. Yes, your mom is your support system, but the baby is yours and not hers. Okay, now with this point, like the big sister in me must jump out, because what are you doing? Like, literally, what are you doing? You had a child as a teenager, or you had a child as a very early 20s girlie who's still in school. Now you have a supportive family that is helping you raise the child, but for some reason, you don't want to become more responsible. For some reason, you still think you can live your life the way you lived it before your child. My babe, no. That child is yours. That child is not your mother's, is not your sister's, is not your cousin's, is not your friend's, is not your granny's. It's your child. That is your child. And that child is the consequence of the actions you took. Be grateful for the fact that you have a supportive system that is sitting with you and they've agreed to help you through this. But what you're not going to do is relax and let the bigger bulk of that responsibility fall on them. And you think you can still go outside and be a groove babe. I'm so sorry, but no. And when your friends are going to call you out for that, don't be mad at them, because they're right. That's your child. What do you think this is? Like, literally, what do you think this is? You can't just have a child and then not want to shape up. I am so sorry that this is how it sounds, but it's the reality of the situation. You're not going to have a child as a very young girl and then still think that you get to live as a regular young girl who has no children. Your life is different now. Yes, there can be moments where you're asking your family to please look after the baby so that you can actually go spend time with your friends, because you should still be able to spend time with your friends, right? But the reality is that it's not going to be the same amount of time that they get to spend with each other, right? So if they are doing a full night out and the next morning they get to sleep in, sharp, maybe you do the full night out with them, but then you have to wake up early, go back home, look after your child. Or maybe not do the full night, go back home so that you'll be able to put your child to bed, or whatever the case might be, whatever routine that you and your child have. But the point I'm trying to make here is that don't take advantage of your supportive family as a young mom. Be grateful for the fact that they're supporting you, but take responsibility for your actions. And if you're coming from the type of environments where they have been so supportive that they've let you go back to school as well, focus on that. Do well in that so that you can progress, become independent, and look after your child without the worry of feeling like you're burdening your family. I know it sounds like a lot of responsibility to take on as a teenager or as someone who's in their early 20s, but the reality is these are the consequences of an action that you took, right? In most cases, right? And in the other unfortunate cases, I am very, very sorry. That's also a whole other topic, and it would need a lot more time and a lot more sensitivity. But in the case of the girlies who were the ones that took these actions on their own, face the music. Face the music. I know it sucks, but come out stronger. Don't let it drag you down. Come out stronger. Be responsible. You know what I mean? Be responsible. Okay, the next one. Oh, yeah, the next one is be responsible. If you have the baby, you need to become more responsible. We can't go back and undo the past, but we can change the future. Having a baby is not the end of your life. And I think that's also another thing that the young mommies need to understand. Having a baby is not the end of your life. Is it going to slow you down a bit? Yes. Is it going to put you on a detour? Yes. But it's not the end of your life. It's not the end of your life. I don't have a child yet, so I don't know all of the mixed emotions that come with having a child, especially at that tender age. But the point I'm trying to make here is that it is actually not the end. You definitely are still alive, and you can definitely still get your life back on track. So don't think that it is the end. Don't think that you are doomed, especially also if the father of the child has chosen to run away and leave you with all of this responsibility. Huddle with your support system. Understand that this is your new reality, and understand that life can get better than where it is right now. This is just a moment. It will pass. Your child will grow. You will also grow, and you will see that you are progressing in life. But that only is going to happen if you have also chosen to be responsible, right? And take responsibility for your actions. Become a present mom. Become someone who is more focused if you're still at school. Become someone who is career focused if now you've decided to go find a job, right? But the bottom line here is just be responsible. Take charge of your life. Because now you are someone else's mom. And your mom can't be mom to you and your child. Yes, your mom will be there supporting you, or whichever motherly figure that is there in the picture with you. But at the end of the day, that's your child. This is your life. You are mom. So get on with it, my babe. I know you can do it. Get on with it. I know it's hard, but get on with it. You can do it, right? And I don't know if you guys know her, but Sarah Jakes Roberts is someone who always speaks about her experience and how she had a child at the age of 13, and now she is well into her late 30s, if not early 40s, I think. And just go check out her story because she speaks about it all the time. There's also a really nice lady on TikTok, Sisona. She's a big TikToker here in South Africa. And she's one of the girls who are also very vocal about being a young mom and how it affected her because she was a young mom. But she's worked her way up now. She's got her life on track. She's stable in her career. She's doing absolutely well. So there are success stories, right? But the success stories come from the girls who decided that this is not going to be the end of my life. That is just going to lead me to where I want to go a bit differently, right? So find, even in your own communities or in your own spaces, to the young mummies, women that you can look up to and who had kids young but are doing well, right? Don't think of this as the end of your life. It is absolutely not the end of your life. You can come out of this and you can reclaim your life, right? And that is definitely the next point, that you need to reclaim your power for yourself. What you went through is extremely terrible, especially if the father of the child has decided to run away. It is terrible. I have gone through heartbreak from just dating, and it has literally put me on the floor to the point where I lost so much weight and I thought I was gonna die. And I know most of the girlies have a similar experience, but I cannot imagine what an experience like that looks like with a child in the picture. It must be extremely hard. It must be extremely sad. It must be extremely tough. But you can reclaim your life, because it is not the end of your life what has happened to you. You must still remember the girl that is dreaming inside. Call her back. Let her lead now. Don't let her die, because she is still there. Fight for her. Yes, you are fighting for your child, but definitely still fight for yourself to get to where you still want to be, right? Whatever dream you had. You want to be a doctor, you want to be an accountant, you want to be an actress, you want to play professional sports, you want to be a superstar. Whatever your dream is, don't let it die. Don't let it die. Yes, spend the first 1 to 3 years figuring this mom thing out with the support of your family and your support system, but don't let your dreams die, is my point. Reclaim your power. It's not the end of your life, right? And yeah, I think this brings me to the end of part 1. I'm definitely going to do a part 2 because there's so much that needs to be said about the 7B's, but I think the gist of today's episode is, yes, girls, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're teenagers, you're early 20s, you're gonna have crushes, you're gonna date, you're gonna want to engage with boys, but don't let them steal your future. You need to know the consequences of what happens when you decide to start engaging with boys sexually, and understand the full responsibility of what could come with pregnancy and what your life is going to look like when it changes because of things like that. You need to know this so that you also know how to protect yourself moving forward. And if you want to set boundaries, set your boundaries so that you're not doing things that you don't want to be doing. Okay. We definitely are going to have a part 2, like I said, but because I also mentioned that at the end of every episode, we're going to have a quote of the episode. If you didn't catch it in the last episode, this is the book that I'm reading right now. This is Synchro Destiny by Deepak Chopra. I recently started reading this book and I absolutely am enjoying it. And I'm going to jump into the quote for today. Oh my goodness, why am I so nervous? I actually really liked the quote from the other day. This is on page 38 and it reads, "So the physical world, the world of objects and matter, is made up of nothing but information contained in energy vibrating at different frequencies. The reason we don't see the world as a huge web of energy is that it is vibrating far too fast. Our senses, because they function so slowly, are able to register only chunks of this energy and activity, and these clusters of information become the chair, my body, water, and every other physical object in the visible universe." Right. So how do we tie what I've just read to you to today's episode? All of these things are only in the physical and visible world, right? So if you as a teen mom now have a baby, visibly it looks like where you are standing right now will be where you are still standing in 10 years or 20 years, and that's not true. That is not true. What you are seeing now is only what is now. What you are seeing up here will be where you will be then later, right? So whatever you are going to do about the circumstance of being a young mom and the situation that you find yourself in, do not let this be what you are seeing inside here. Let what you are seeing being in here be a better world for yourself and for your baby. And that way, what you're seeing outside will start to look like what you're seeing in here. I hope that makes a lot of sense for you, girlies. I love you so, so much. Please always remember, in this life, the only thing that is going to save you is Skolo, and you're the only one that is going to do that for you. There are a lot of group assignments in this life, but Skolo it's you and yourself alone, right? So please stay committed to your books, stay committed to your studies, stay committed to your future, and remember, Banyana is Skolo. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, girlies.